The prison gate swung open, creaking ominously, as if it were reluctant to let go of its most notorious inmate. Carlo strode out, a smirk playing on his lips, his eyes gleaming with a mix of triumph and defiance. He had beaten the system once again. He felt the eyes of the guards on him, burning with frustration and barely concealed anger. They had seen many criminals come and go, but Carlo was different. He knew they hadn't wanted to release him. They had hoped the evidence would be enough to keep him locked away for good, not after the charges they brought. Charges that painted him as a mastermind of a sprawling criminal empire, not after the evidence they thought they had. Evidence that had taken years to gather piece by piece in a painstaking effort to bring him down. But Carlo had a secret weapon, a lawyer so cunning he could make the devil look innocent. A man who thrived on the challenge of impossible cases. His lawyer had exploited a technicality, a loophole in the system that no one else had seen. It was a masterstroke of legal maneuvering. Just like that, years of meticulous planning and risky operations were forgotten by the law. The case files that once seemed so damning were now just paper, but not by the cops. They remembered every detail, every piece of evidence, every sleepless night spent trying to bring Carlo to justice. They knew Carlo was guilty. They had seen the destruction he left in his wake, the lives he had ruined. They craved the day they could put him away for good. They had vowed to see him behind bars no matter how long it took. This time they vowed would be different. They would not let him slip through their fingers again.
News of Carlo's release spread through the police department like wildfire. It was the talk of every office, every hallway. Anger and disbelief hung heavy in the air. How could the system have failed them so completely?
Agent Alex, a seasoned detective with a score to settle, slammed his fist on the table. The sound echoed through the room, a testament to his frustration. He had dedicated years of his life to building a case against Carlo, only to see it crumble in an instant. It was a bitter pill to swallow. This wasn't just about justice anymore. It was personal. Carlo had made it personal when he had slipped through their grasp time and time again.
His partner, Agent Chloe, a woman known for her cool head and sharp instincts, met his gaze. She had been by his side through it all. She understood his frustration, his need for retribution. She felt it too, but she also knew they had to be smart about their next move. But she also knew that letting emotions cloud their judgment would only play into Carlo's hands. They had to be strategic, methodical. They needed a plan, a strategy to bring him down, and this time, keep him down. The chase was on, and they were more determined than ever to see it through to the end.
Alex was a force of nature, driven by a relentless pursuit of justice. He had always been the kind of detective who wouldn't rest until every stone was turned, every clue examined, and every lead followed. His colleagues often marveled at his tenacity, wondering where he found the energy to keep going day after day. Years on the force had hardened him, etching lines of determination around his eyes. Each wrinkle told a story of battles fought and won, of sleepless nights and relentless days. His eyes, though weary, still burned with the fire of a man who had seen too much but refused to give up. He believed in gut feelings, in following the trail even when it led to dark places. Dark alleys and abandoned buildings were his second home, places where he felt most alive, where his instincts guided him like a sixth sense. He trusted his gut more than any piece of technology or forensic evidence. Carlo's escape had reignited a fire in him, a burning need to right the wrong that had been committed. It wasn't just about catching a criminal. It was personal. Carlo had slipped through his fingers once, and Alex was determined it wouldn't happen again. The thought of Carlo roaming free gnawed at him, fueling his relentless pursuit.
Chloe, on the other hand, was a strategist. She was the brain to Alex's brawn, the calm to his storm. Her approach was methodical, calculated, and precise. She saw patterns where others saw chaos, and her ability to think several steps ahead made her an invaluable asset to the team. She approached every case like a game of chess, each move carefully considered, each piece strategically placed. Her mind was a labyrinth of possibilities, always analyzing, always planning. She knew that one wrong move could mean the difference between success and failure, meticulously planning her moves, always several steps ahead. Her office was a testament to her meticulous nature, with case files neatly organized and a whiteboard filled with diagrams and notes. She thrived on the challenge, the mental gymnastics of outsmarting the criminals she pursued. Her calm demeanor and sharp intellect often caught criminals off guard, making them underestimate her. They saw her as just another detective, not realizing the formidable mind they were up against. Her ability to remain composed under pressure was one of her greatest strengths. Lulled them into a false sense of security before she delivered the checkmate. It was her signature move, the moment when the pieces fell into place, and the criminal realized too late that they had been outmaneuvered. The look of realization on their faces was something she never tired of seeing.
They were an unlikely pair, fire and ice, but their contrasting styles had made them one of the most effective teams in the department. Their differences complemented each other, creating a synergy that was greater than the sum of its parts. Together, they were unstoppable. Their contrasting styles had made them one of the most effective teams in the department. They had a rhythm, an unspoken understanding that allowed them to anticipate each other's moves. Their colleagues often marveled at their ability to work in perfect harmony, despite their differences. Their partnership, however, ran deeper than their professional lives. They shared a bond that went beyond the badge, a connection forged in the heat of the chase and the quiet moments in between. They trusted each other implicitly, knowing that they had each other's backs no matter what. A mutual attraction simmered beneath the surface, unspoken but undeniable. It was a tension that neither of them acknowledged, but it was always there, adding an extra layer of complexity to their already volatile dynamic. They danced around it, each afraid to take the first step. It added another layer of complexity to their already volatile dynamic. Their relationship was a delicate balance of professional respect and personal longing, a tightrope walk that they navigated with care. They knew that crossing the line could jeopardize everything they had worked for.
Their first lead came just hours after Carlo's release. It was a small break, but it was enough to set them on the right path. They pored over the evidence, analyzing every detail, looking for the thread that would unravel the mystery. Intelligence reports placed him at the city's international airport. It was a bold move, a brazen display of confidence that bordered on arrogance. Carlo was daring them to catch him, and Alex and Chloe were more than ready to take up the challenge. It was a bold move, a brazen display of confidence that bordered on arrogance. Carlo's audacity was infuriating, but it also gave them hope. If he was willing to take such risks, it meant he was feeling the pressure. They just had to stay one step ahead.
As Alex and Chloe raced towards the airport, the weight of the situation settled upon them. This wasn't just another case, it was a game of cat and mouse with a master manipulator. They knew that one wrong move could mean disaster, but they were ready to face whatever came their way. The weight of the situation settled upon them. They had faced tough cases before, but this one felt different. The stakes were higher, the risks greater. They couldn't afford to make any mistakes. This wasn't just another case, it was a game of cat and mouse with a master manipulator. Carlo was a formidable opponent, and they knew that catching him would require all their skills and experience. They were ready for the challenge, but they also knew that the road ahead would be long and difficult. It was a game of cat and mouse with a master manipulator. Carlo was always one step ahead, always anticipating their moves. But Alex and Chloe were determined to catch him, no matter what it took. They knew that the chase was just beginning, and they were ready for the fight of their lives.
The airport buzzed with activity, a constant hum of voices blending with the mechanical whir of escalators and the occasional announcement over the PA system. It was a symphony of rumbling suitcases and hurried goodbyes, a place where every second counted and every moment was fleeting. Alex and Chloe, their movements sharp and purposeful, scanned the crowds with the precision of seasoned detectives. Their eyes darted from face to face, searching for any sign of their targets. They were hunting for any sign of Carlo or his men, their senses on high alert. Every shadow seemed suspicious, every movement potentially dangerous.
They spotted them near the baggage claim, standing out like wolves among sheep. Two men, built like linebackers, their faces etched with a hardness that betrayed their affiliation. They were the kind of men who commanded attention and respect, even in a place as chaotic as an airport. Alex's hand instinctively went to his holster, his fingers itching to make an arrest, but Chloe held him back with a subtle shake of her head. Her eyes conveyed a silent message: patience.
"Don't blow our cover," she whispered, her voice low and urgent. "We need to follow them, see what they're up to." Her words were a reminder of the delicate balance they had to maintain.
As the two men loaded several heavy duffel bags into a waiting van, Alex and Chloe watched from a distance, their eyes never leaving the suspects. Alex noticed something peculiar. One of the bags had a small tear, revealing a glimpse of its contents, stacks of crisp, high-denomination bills. It was a sight that confirmed their worst suspicions. It was more than enough to raise suspicion, even without their prior knowledge of Carlo's operation. The sight of the money was a stark reminder of the stakes involved.
"Drug money," she murmured, her eyes narrowing. "They're moving fast. We need to stay close." Her voice carried a sense of urgency, a recognition of the danger they were in.
They followed the van as it weaved through city streets, their own unmarked car a shadow in the urban jungle. The city was a maze of possibilities, each turn a potential escape route for Carlo's men. Their own unmarked car, a shadow in the urban jungle, blending in with the flow of traffic but always keeping the van in sight. The pursuit was a delicate dance, requiring both skill and patience. The tension in the car was palpable. The frustration was evident in their expressions, but so was their determination. They knew they couldn't afford to lose him now. As the cityscape transitioned from day to night, the shadows grew longer and the stakes higher. The pursuit was far from over, and Alex and Chloe knew that every moment counted. Their faces were set with determination, their minds focused on the task at hand. They had come too far to let Carlo slip through their fingers now. The game was on, and they were ready to see it through to the end.
Alex, I need you to be the bait.
Chloe said, her voice low and serious. Alex raised an eyebrow. They were in their safe house, a dingy apartment above a noisy noodle shop.
Bait for what exactly?
For Thomas, he's looking for you. Carlo put a bounty on your head.
Chloe replied, pulling out a crumpled photograph. Alex took the picture. It was him, clear as day, taken from the security footage of their last mission.
And you want me to just walk into his trap?
Chloe shook her head.
No. We use it to our advantage. We let Thomas think he's caught you, then we turn the tables. It's a risky plan, I know, but it's our best shot at getting to Carlo.
The plan was simple, yet daring. Chloe disguised Alex as a street vendor, setting up shop near one of Thomas's known haunts, a grimy bar called the Rusty Mug. Alex, dressed in worn-out clothes and sporting a fake scar Chloe had insisted on, felt a nervous flutter in his stomach. He pretended to hawk cheap trinkets, his eyes scanning the street for any sign of Thomas's men. Chloe, meanwhile, was positioned on a rooftop across the street, her sniper rifle trained on the bar's entrance. Her earpiece crackled with updates from their tech guy, Ben, who was monitoring the bar's security feeds.
Anything, Ben?
Chloe whispered. Not yet, came the reply, but there's a lot of activity inside, be ready. The waiting was the worst part. Every passing car, every group of people walking by sent a jolt of adrenaline through Alex. He tried to focus on the trinkets in front of him, but his hands wouldn't stop shaking. Inside the Rusty Mug, Thomas slammed his fist on the table, making the empty glasses rattle. He was getting impatient. Where was this lead of his, the one who swore he'd seen the kid from the photo? A man with greasy hair and a nervous twitch approached the table.
Boss, he's here, the guy with the photo.
Thomas narrowed his eyes.
Bring him to me.
The man scurried off. Moments later he returned, pushing a skinny teenager in front of him. The teenager trembled, his face pale as he held out a photograph. Thomas snatched it, his eyes widening as he recognized the image. It wasn't just Alex in the photo, it was Alex and Chloe, standing side by side, their arms around each other, both flashing wide grins. The photo had been taken on a sunny day, at a park, the joy on their faces radiating pure happiness. A stark contrast to the grim reality of their current situation. A slow, cruel smile spread across Thomas's face.
Well, looks like we've got ourselves a 2-for-1 deal.
We've got a problem.
Ben's voice crackled in Chloe's ear.
Thomas knows about you. He's onto the plan.
Chloe's heart dropped to her stomach.
What? How?
Before Ben could answer, a wave of panic erupted on the street below. 2 black SUVs screeched to a halt in front of Alex's stall, men piling out, guns drawn.
Alex, get out of there!
Chloe screamed into the earpiece, but it was too late. Alex barely had time to react before they were on him, grabbing him, pinning his arms behind his back. He struggled against their grip, but they were too strong.
Looking for this?
One of the men sneered, holding up the photo of Alex and Chloe. He ripped it in half, tossing it to the ground. From her vantage point, Chloe watched in horror as they bundled Alex into one of the SUVs. Adrenaline surged through her, battling with the icy fear that threatened to consume her. She had to do something. She had to save him. The SUV sped through the city streets, sirens blaring behind them. Alex, his wrists bound with zip ties, slammed against the door with each sharp turn. He could see the reflection of the man guarding him in the tinted window, a mountain of a man with a shaved head and a permanent scowl. Suddenly, the SUV lurched violently, the windshield shattering into a spiderweb of cracks. The man guarding Alex swore, scrambling for his gun. Before he could react, the door next to Alex burst open and a figure dressed in black tactical gear landed in a crouch.
Get down!
She yelled, firing 2 shots. The man slumped over, a dark stain blooming on his chest. Alex stared at Chloe, his mind struggling to catch up. 1 minute he was captured, the next she was there, rescuing him in a hail of gunfire.
I thought I told you to stay put.
Chloe snapped, cutting the zip ties with a knife from her boot.
You thought wrong. This was a terrible plan, Chloe. You could have gotten killed.
Chloe looked at him, her expression softening.
I know, but I couldn't let them take you.
Their eyes met, and for a moment, the chaos around them faded away. There was a silent understanding passing between them, a bond forged in danger and trust.
Come on, we're not done yet.
With Alex back by her side, Chloe led the charge on Carlo's base. It was a rundown warehouse on the outskirts of the city, guarded by a small army of thugs. The battle was intense, a blur of gunfire, explosions, and hand-to-hand combat. Chloe moved with deadly grace, her every shot finding its mark. Alex, fueled by adrenaline and a need to make up for his earlier capture, fought with a ferocity that belied his age. They fought their way through the warehouse, finally reaching Carlo's inner sanctum. He sat behind a steel desk, a smug smile playing on his lips.
You really shouldn't have come here.
Carlo said, his voice smooth, dangerous.
It's over, Carlo. You're finished.
Carlo chuckled.
You think this is the end? This is just the beginning.
He pressed a button on his desk. The wall behind him slid open, revealing a hidden escape tunnel.
See you around, kids.
Carlo said, disappearing into the tunnel, but Chloe was ready for him. She had anticipated this move. As Carlo made his escape, a team of police officers stormed the warehouse, guns drawn. The officers swarmed the remaining criminals, apprehending them. At the mouth of the tunnel, 2 officers emerged, dragging a handcuffed and fuming Carlo. Chloe allowed herself a small smile. It wasn't over, not really, but they had won this round. And she knew, with a certainty that warmed her despite the chill of the night, that they would be ready for whatever came next, together.